film from 1968 shows glimpses of protest.
They were burning draft cards.
Demonstrations surrounding the war in Vietnam, and on November 21st of that year, President Lyndon Johnson was in the White House. And a Milwaukee trio was in custody. The newspaper called it a slaying. Then 18-year-old Melvitine Lampkins and two others played a part in a grocery store robbery. The article described gun whipping and shots fired. One man apparently did not move fast enough for the robbers.
Took a sawed-off shotgun and shot him in the chest.
Who shoots a 78-year-old man in a grocery store?
It was point-blank range. He put the shotgun right to his chest and pulled the trigger.
78-year-old John Adornato was shopping with his wife.
He was a gentle soul. He was a lover of people.
He was rushed from the area of Buffalo Center to a hospital. The intern at the emergency room knew there was nothing he could do, and that intern just happened to be one of Adornato's 11 grandchildren.
It took us by such shock.
Another of his grandchildren, Celia Dodge, describes the impact of the murder.
It devastated them. It really did. It broke the family apart.
The robbers were caught and convicted of the crime, including Melvitine Lampkins.
She was the lookout for the robbery.
Michelle Herrings of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force says Lampkins was sentenced to life in prison plus 60 years, but was given the chance to attend school during that time. Lampkins took advantage of the opportunity, and Herrings says she escaped in 1976 and somehow managed to escape again in 1979.
Her whereabouts and activities have been unknown since.
How could someone be missing out of a jail cell, out of a prison for 30 years?
Yes, I think they deserve an explanation.
I'd like to point a finger. I wouldn't know where to start.
A crime taking place during a time of unrest and conflict. The fugitive bringing additional unrest to a family decades later.
I don't feel vindictive, but I do feel she needs to be found.
We begin with the man who was one of the last people to see Derek Williams alive before he died in the back of a squad car.
Now, this man is the victim who Williams tried to rob that night, but his story may surprise you. He says he's not the only victim.
Our Jeremy Ross is here with the exclusive.
The police report describes a masked man reaching into his pocket, implying he had a weapon. As a result, this is labeled an attempted armed robbery lasting only about 8 seconds. What happened after is leaving a lasting impression.
I was walking home from Summerfest.
July 6th of last year, a UWM student and his then girlfriend were approached from behind near the intersection of Holton and Center.
By a man in a mask asking for my wallet. I was kind of in shock at the time, just said, "What?"
Police reports say the man grabbed the pocket of Sam Took.
I was a victim in an attempted robbery, and I mean, when it happened, obviously I was scared.
Took says the man saw a squad car and ran off, disappearing into a neighboring yard. The case would reappear in headlines more than a year later. The suspect was 22-year-old Derek Williams, seen taking some of his final breaths inside a Milwaukee police squad car. His gasps for help ignored by officers believing he was faking. He later died from complications from sickle cell. The manner of death, once called natural causes, was recently changed to homicide by medical examiners.
Seeing the video, it was sickening, really, watching it. I mean, it's just sad, really.
Until the police video was released, Took never got a glimpse of what happened after Williams ran off. He says he appreciates the quick police response preventing the robbery.
At the end of the day, they could have possibly saved my life.
While Took is called a victim in the police report, he offers sympathy for the man accused of trying to rob him, labeled a suspect.
He was definitely a victim too. I think watching what I saw, it seems that he needed help and he didn't get it. So I think he would be a victim also.
In an exclusive interview, Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn told Fox 6 his officers should have responded more quickly to Williams' health concerns. He added police procedures have already been changed following the reopening of this case. In Milwaukee, if you fail to shovel your sidewalks, you could get a ticket. But imagine for a moment if this is how you viewed your world. Blurry, fuzzy, nearly impossible to see. From that perspective, an unpaved sidewalk could prove dangerous. trudging through the snow, braving the icy winds, winter conditions posing difficulty for some. The building's snow piles proved to be a barrier for others.
Just piled up too high right there.
But the challenges and concerns are different for Troy Hergert.
I have retinitis pigmentosa, or RP for short.
He's living with a degenerative eye disease allowing him little to no sight.
I'm legally blind, have been for 30 years.
His cane serves as his sense of vision, but in these conditions, that sense is dulled.
I'm having to dig in and find, okay, I'm still on cement. Over here, okay, I find some grass, so I'm going to try to follow that.
Waving his cane back and forth, Hergert distinguishes paved sidewalks from unpaved areas, but where the walk is washed out by inches of snow.
And aha, okay, found something. Sign, garbage can, a parking block. Okay, now I know I'm on the path, but again, this is a treacherous spot because I cannot use any of my proper techniques. For 24 hours, we expect when snow falls, it's going to be an issue. It's no one's fault. But within 24 hours, residents and businesses are supposed to clear their sidewalks.
Sometimes passage is also prevented by plows.
Now I have to get up this curb, and I don't feel any way to do that. It doesn't seem like, it seems like the plow has made a little bit of a mess, or left a little bit, so I'm looking for a way to get up. And finally, I might just give up, and I'm just gonna climb in.
For people with visual and other physical impairments, the weather can pose risks.
The snow is still falling, so I'm taking a chance.
But sometimes in the snow, simple victories are uncovered.
Aha, I find a shoveled spot, finally.
Patches of plowed pavement, some take for granted.
Just please shovel.
It was a chase through 4 counties involving a half-dozen law enforcement agencies. When the 2002 Chrysler minivan came to a stop, 5 were arrested, and Monday, 4 were charged in connection with the chase, including 18-year-old Daryl Thompson, who spoke exclusively to Fox 6.
I just wish things would happen a different way.
The criminal complaint says May 9th, an off-duty MPD officer called for help after seeing a minivan full of apparent burglars who were trying to force entry into homes. Police say they're looking into tools recovered from the van that could be linked to burglaries.
We wasn't doing nothing. We weren't trying to commit no burglaries or none of that. You see some black guys in a white neighborhood, you gonna call the police? That seems kind of racist to me. We was actually lost trying to look for directions so we can get out of there so I can go to school.
But what Thompson describes as a trip to class took a detour into detention. After seeing squad cars, the driver hit the gas traveling through neighborhoods and freeway traffic, hitting speeds of up to 85 miles per hour.
I don't know how fast it was going to take the truth.
Why didn't you guys pull over?
Huh? I don't know. Tell you the truth.
Do you wish you had?
Do I wish I had? Let me see. That's the past. I mean, I can't dwell on the past.
Investigators say 17-year-old Devarian Beeman was at the wheel. Is Mr. Beeman around, or?
No.
Beeman is accused of stealing the vehicle from Milwaukee's ABC Daycare back on May 8th.
Court documents say he lives here. We're just trying to get his side of things, ma'am.
I'm not the driver.
We tried talking with the driver.
Yeah, the driver doesn't want to talk to you. I don't even know I'm talking to you right now.
Investigators say 19-year-old Jarmel Gatewood and 17-year-old Fred Gillespie were also in the van. A chase leading the law to one car and leading its occupants into the court system.
Thankfully, nobody got hurt.
Now, all the accusations that we described are coming from the Milwaukee County court system. This evening, we spoke with law enforcement. They tell us that they will be recommending charges to Racine County's district attorney, so it is possible that all those inside the van could face additional legal action.
He started sending me texts about what he would like to do to me.
They were messages between 2 adults. But it's who sent lewd messages.
I just felt sick to my stomach. I was just like...
Shocking one woman.
I just couldn't believe that it was happening.
And forcing a Greenfield police officer to resign.
I had asked them, I was like, do you need my contact information? They said they already had it.
Joanne Fagan says August 21st, she was questioned during an investigation. She says one of the officers acted very professional. One did not.
And later on that night, I got another text from an unknown number, and he said that this is Officer so-and-so, and this is my private number if you need anything.
In a news release, Greenfield police say the two began exchanging consensual text messages in the hours that would follow. Fagan does not describe the messages as mutual, claiming there were 2 inappropriate images sent and more than a dozen lewd messages.
He said he wanted to, have sex with me. He just kept going and kept going and kept going, and then eventually sent me pictures of his private. I felt gross and scared at the same time, pretty much.
Police say they were tipped off about the conduct and took immediate action. The officer with less than 6 years of experience was suspended 2 days later and resigned September 7th.
I think that the rest of the police officers in Greenfield, I think that they're fine. They're very professional in everything they do.
Now, because this incident does not involve criminal charges, we are not naming the former officer at this time. In the meantime, Greenfield's police chief says the vast majority of his officers adhere to the highest professional levels.
Police, we need to come in.
They combat criminal desperation.
Come to the door right now.
With determination.
All right, we're getting in the front door.
And in this case, observation. This is U.S. Marshal video of a suspect hiding in a dark attic. A small camera quickly spotted the fugitive. Through technology, the wanted man is flushed out. But the disturbance at this front door is nothing.
Can we get the boomstick?
Compared to the disturbance created long before law enforcement's visit.
Come to the door, U.S. Marshals.
The roundup of fugitives on this day is focused on a particular kind of offender.
Where'd he go?
And house by house.
I'm innocent.
Marshals say the people in handcuffs have one thing in common.
The way he violated was domestic violence.
Domestic violence battery warrant.
Beat her up a number of times.
He punched her in the face.
He's got domestic abuse.
He took their 50-inch flat screen, threw it on her.
They obviously have anger management issues.
Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Michael Schulte gave Fox 6 exclusive access to a targeted sweep of fugitives linked to domestic violence, a type of offender posing risks not just to law enforcement but also to the women they are trying to protect.
It can definitely make the situation volatile.
That volatility surfaced in Brookfield this past October when 45-year-old Radcliffe Houghton opened fire inside the Azana Salon and Spa before taking his own life. He murdered his ex-wife and 2 others inside. The killings were the result of domestic unrest erupting into fatal violence.
He punched her in the face, shattered her orbital bone.
This fugitive roundup has law enforcement looking for 28-year-old Antonio Pugh. He was angered about food preparation.
Him and his girlfriend got in an argument.
That led to hospitalization.
Because she fried his pizza rolls instead of putting them in the microwave, allegedly.
Law enforcement says Pugh violated his parole, leading to marshals surrounding a Northside home.
Oh, this way.
Eventually finding him in a closet.
I'm innocent.
Denying the accusations, but not law enforcement's efforts to take him in, Pugh cooperates outside the home.
Hi, man, watch your head.
It is a peaceful conclusion to what can sometimes be a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek with fugitives who don't want to be found and, if cornered, have a history of lashing out. Jeremy Ross, Fox 6 News. An inconvenience for some, a pain in the back for others.
All right, good girl.
But for Aries, a Labrador Retriever, and Patrick Schmidt, a clear path is a clear necessity.
It's hard to drive in it.
On 6 wheels or 4 paws, both need to use the street at times to get around because some of the sidewalks,
they're just covered.
And that's just in his neighborhood.
It's easier here because I live out in the country.
Now take a trip downtown. The snow near the sidewalks dictates where he can be dropped off.
It's right next to the road where we park, but I can't get my ramp down to get out.
Some of the cleared areas aren't wide enough for 2.
Follow. The dog gets squeezed off and she has to just follow me.
All things Schmidt has considered since a motorcycle accident in 2006.
Lost control of my bike and broke my neck. Came home 75 days later and I was in a wheelchair.
His life detour means at times taking alternate routes.
It's all slush and I'm not driving through that.
To avoid shorting out his electric wheelchair, he'll have to travel 2 blocks because of uncleared snow.
This area, it's not bad.
But other places may not be fit for this man and man's best friend.
I don't think they understand how it is.
In Port Washington, if businesses and neighbors do not take care of the walks, the city can eventually take care of it for them and send those property owners the bill in the mail.